So we will bring an end to this, and quickly. That's what Michael McGrath just said, and this follows another drone shutdown at the airport yesterday at Dublin Airport. 3 flights had to be deserted, and that being the 6th time this has happened since the start of the year. Ryanair boss Michael O'Leary has been expressing his frustration online over the whole affair. Michael O'Leary, good morning to you.
Good morning, Anya. How are you?
You heard the minister say there the government is determined to bring an end to these drone shutdowns, and quickly. We know that Minister Ryan and Minister of State Chambers are meeting the DAA, the Irish Aviation Authority, and other relevant state agencies today. And we know there's a memo going to Cabinet about this on Friday. So government is acting, aren't they?
Yeah, I'd say the drone operators at Dublin Airport are terrified at the thought of Eamon Ryan producing a memo. That's clearly going to clear the skies over Dublin. But this is completely unacceptable. Dublin Airport is the only major EU airport that for the 6 times in the last 6 weeks has been shut by illegal drone activity. Every time for the last 6 weeks it's been shut. Minister Ryan is holding meetings, he's promising action, he's meeting stakeholders, which of course is political speak for doing nothing. The solution to this is reasonably easy. We don't want 15-year jail sentences. We want the Dublin Airport to have the power to disable drones. Most European airports, Gatwick, Heathrow, Stansted, Schiphol, all have anti-drone technology. It's not expensive. It costs about €100,000 and it's operated by their airport police. The problem here is that we have a minister who won't take any action. He'd prefer to have meetings and produce memos and talk about it. And there's a kind of this grey area. Should it be the Gardaí or should it be the Dublin Airport Police? The Gardaí are busy enough and they don't need any more commitments. What we need today is not legislation. We need the minister to authorise Dublin Airport to spend the 100,000, buy the electronic equipment which will disable these drones once they're identified and bring them down. We need that done today. We don't need a memo to Cabinet next Tuesday. What happens if the airport is shut again on Saturday or Sunday? Last night we had 3 flights diverted to Shannon and Belfast. 500 passengers were taken to an airport they didn't want to go to, and 20,000 passengers had their flights delayed and disrupted Dublin Airport last night. It is time for Minister Ryan to take action or resign. Frankly, we think he's incompetent. He's sat on his hands for the last 5 or 6 weeks doing nothing. And him having meetings and producing memos is not a solution to this problem. Him spending 100,000. All right,
but let's talk. Okay, let's talk about the issue and not the man. And not the man. The minister is elected by the people of his constituency. They are the people who have the right of hiring and firing the minister. That's how democracy. Now, I want to actually talk about the issue, because when I was talking to Eoghan Corry about this earlier, what seems to be the case is that the law to prosecute an individual using a drone is in place, but the law to bring down a drone is not so clear. So it's going to take, even with the best will in the world, if there's an immediate piece of legislation that follows this memo, it's going to take a couple of weeks at least before that could be, gotten through all the necessary procedures in the Dáil.
Firstly, Minister Ryan is the Minister for Transport. He's not elected by the people of Ryanair to be the Minister for Transport. He represents all of us. This is an island on the edge of Europe, and our main airport has been shut down 6 times in 6 weeks. On the issue, we don't want to wait for legislation. Legislation will take 6, 10, 12 months. We don't need legislation for this. We need the minister to empower the Dublin Airport Authority Police to disable the drones and authorise them to purchase the equipment to take it down. If you need legislation, pass the legislation in 3 or 6 months, but our passengers and the main airport artery of this island on the edge of Europe cannot wait, shouldn't be expected to wait. How many more disruptions at Dublin Airport will we have while we're waiting for Minister Ryan to pass legislation? Make a decision, take the drones down today, tomorrow, and worry about the legislation afterwards. Who's going to sue him?
Okay, I want you to clarify.
The drone operator.
Okay, yeah, but I want to.
Or do we want to protect? I want you to protect aircraft safety and passenger lives at Dublin Airport.
Fair enough. Okay. I want you to give me, please, your take on something I don't understand, and I think people would like clarity on. Dublin Airport was tweeting yesterday, because obviously people were complaining, and they were saying the technology is in place, but the legislation is not. On the other hand, the government statement says the minister will be bringing a memo to Cabinet regarding the acquisition of anti-drone technology. So as far as you understand it, is the technology to signal block drones or bring them down, is that in place at Dublin Airport already or not?
My understanding is it's not. My understanding is that Dublin Airport have sought permission from the Department of Transport to acquire this technology, and they can't get permission from the Department of Transport. This fuffing around as to whether we need legislation or legislative framework. Every other airport in Europe has this technology. It's already operating. There's no reason why our main airport on an island on the west of Europe should not have this technology in place today. It would take probably 4 weeks to train the Dublin Airport police, and all we need is a decision by Minister Ryan to protect passengers and flights at Dublin Airport. We don't need his memos, we don't need his meetings, we don't need his Twitter feed. We just need a decision and action by lunchtime today. Okay. And if he won't make that decision, he should resign as Transport Minister and return to the leafy suburbs of Ranelagh, where he can worry about bicycle lanes.
And Ryanair, what's the value of vouchers outstanding from the pandemic on Ryanair's books?
Minimal at this stage. We think more than 95% of all of the vouchers have now been reclaimed. But we've been very aggressive about sending emails to passengers, those passengers who have vouchers, to get them to use them. The very tiny amount that we have left outstanding are generally vouchers that have been issued to passengers who booked through these screen scrapers, who we have fake IDs for, fake payment details for. We can't contact because the OTAs, these screen scrapers, are blocking our contacts with passengers.
Will the figure, you say minimal, will the actual figure be in your full year-end report?
No, it's too small a number.
All right. So the fact that there was some concern about tens of millions of vouchers potentially still being held by Aer Lingus post-pandemic, the situation is totally different. The figure is
much smaller than that.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for your time this morning. That's Ryanair Group Chief Executive Michael O'Leary.